I am Direwolf, and this is Wolf Reports. Just after 7 a.m. on Wednesday, June 14th, 2017, in Alexandria, Virginia, both the Republican and Democrat congressional baseball teams were practicing on separate fields for their children's charity game that was scheduled for Thursday, when James T. Hogginson, age 66 from Illinois, approached the field from the outside of the fence, asked someone nearby if these were Republicans. When he received confirmation that this was indeed the Republican team practicing, he pulled out his SKS rifle and started to fire. He fired between 50 and 100 bullets in a 6-minute period, and his firing position was from behind the third base dugout. He struck Republican Majority Whip Steve Scalise, who was at the second base and completely in the open. He was struck in the hip and became non-ambulatory. Bleeding badly, unable to move very far, and completely in the open, he crawled about 10 yards into the outfield. A few members of his team ran for the gate and left the baseball diamond. However, the majority of his team ran and hid in the dugout. Those who made the unwise choice to corner themselves in the dugout were then pinned down by the rifle fire. Among them, Zach Barth, a legislative correspondent, received minor injuries from shrapnel, which were fragments of metal and wood that exploded outwards when the bullet hit the structures around him. And Matt Micah, a lobbyist for Tyson Chicken, received multiple gunshot injuries, including at least one to the chest.
Do we know where he's at? Do we know where he's at?
He's behind home plate. You call 911?
I assume people have been calling 911 already.
Better be.
Hey, is that guy okay out there? The guy been shot. Is he okay? Is anybody talking to him?
Yeah, he's behind the bunker. We have shots fired. Shot fired. Way down. Stay down! Stay down! Stay down! Stay down!
Fuck.
Put him down!
I hope that guy's okay.
Mr. Scalise and Micah both were later picked up by helicopter and taken to intensive care, where they received surgery but remain in critical condition. After the two of them were shot, 3 special agents with the Capitol Police that had been assigned to protect Steve Scalise engaged the target. And 6 minutes after the shooting started, local police joined them. The Capitol Police told him to drop his weapons. He also had a handgun. And in response, he fired several shots at them. An eyewitness on the scene said at this time that the Capitol Police took him down. In the process of doing so, Special Agent David Bailey and Crystal Griner both received gunshot injuries, but are reported to be in stable condition. For example, Crystal Griner was shot in the ankle, and though her ankle is destroyed, she will be fine. James T. Hogginson, though very badly injured, did not actually die at the baseball field, but later died at the hospital. No great loss there. This is obviously an unacceptable tragedy, but but it brings up two issues we need to discuss. The first issue is that the Capitol Police only protect the top leadership in Congress. There were multiple congressmen on that field, and each one of them is important for running our government. What bothers me is there's only 3 agents that were assigned to one of the people that were on that field, and the security of the area was so lax they did not notice a man walking up with an M4 right up to the fence of the field. I believe this is a failure of not assigning enough security personnel and also not securing a location that is a big target. Between the Republicans and the Democrats, there was a lot of people that were completely unprotected, and no matter what their politics are, they are important to the state that they represent. And the second issue is a lack of civility. This asshole James was a radical progressive who hated Trump on the basis of many of the lies you hear in the media. I'm not blaming anyone else for his crime. James committed the crime. However, he was influenced by other people. For the last year, we've been hearing how Trump hates gay people, he hates black people, he hates Mexicans, with no real evidence that he hates any of these groups or that he's ever harmed them. Our extremely biased media has convinced a very large part of our country that we've elected the next Hitler. And they've branded everyone that supports him as being a bigoted, racist Nazi. And they've justified and passively condoned violence against them on the false assumption that they are evil Nazis. You can see it in the doomsday reaction after the election, where these people were told that if Trump ever became president, that their worlds would end. The progressive left created so much hate and fear. When the leftist media pushed narratives like Trump stole the election by colluding with the Russians when there is no evidence to that ever happening. And when the hack, which probably was the Russians, but we don't know for sure, was only a phishing email that just stole emails from the DNC and only revealed the lies and corruption of the DNC and Hillary Clinton. The left-wing media keeps trying to imply that they changed votes. They did not change a single vote. All they did was release the truth. And today, the day after the shooting, CNN again, after Comey has already said that Trump was never being investigated for collusion with the Russians, stated it was still a possibility. The problem with this is, when you tell people every single day that Trump is a racist, he's a bigot, he's a Nazi, and that he's going to take away your freedoms and your rights, and then you tell people that he stole the presidency, that he's not even a legitimate president, and then you justify violence against him and his supporters. And when you do all of this, when you take away hope and you give them fear, you're going to turn the more radical elements of your society into killers. And for the left-wing media, this may be a political game for you to gain more power and influence, but you are social engineering political unrest. You are reporting stories in a way and pushing narratives to create fear and hatred of Trump and his supporters, because you believe it will benefit you. However, what you're doing is not only damaging Trump, it's damaging our country. And I realize the left are not the only ones guilty of this. However, when you look at our culture and all the demonizing of straight white males and all the violent protests and riots, you can see the majority of the hate and fear is being bred on the regressive left. The left have let their messaging become increasingly violent towards traditional leftists, centrists, and the right. And all this violent rhetoric makes the groups that they are attacking become defensive. The people they are attacking now have the legitimate fear they may be attacked on the streets for their skin color, sexual orientation, or their opinion. So when the regressive left became mindlessly violent, other groups will become violent in return. They are the ones that are seeking to divide us based on superficial attributes like gender and race. This rhetoric divides us, and this division leads to conflict, and this conflict leads to someone being so afraid and so angry that they believe it's the right thing to do to go to their congressman and try to blow them away. CNN and MSNBC did not pull the trigger. They did not commit the crime. However, they are part of the cycle of violence that creates people like this. And lastly, when has attacking the government with violence ever made the government less violent? If you don't like militarized police and a police state and having your rights and freedoms trampled on by the government, the last thing you should do is try to destabilize your government and threaten the lives of government officials. Because governments are not well known for upholding the freedoms and rights of their citizens when facing violent insurrection. If you want to change government, use your right to vote. If you use violence, they will respond with violence and they will take your rights away. Direwolf out. If you want to hear Direwolf and Friends streaming live semi-daily on political and social commentary, as well as playing games like Quiplash and Drawful, please check out the YouTube channel Direwolf Radio, which is linked in the description of this video.